Hey, welcome to Old Ass Movie Reviews. I'm Scott, and there is Dave, and we are taking it to 1972. Made for TV, Kolchak, the Night Stalker, starring Darren McGavin. Is that the right name?
Darren, Darren McGavin.
All right, good. I got it right. And also, I recognized Frank Burns, Larry Niven, maybe.
That's Larry Linville.
Linville, that's it. Larry Linville. Yeah.
Larry Linville. I think his
So
character
anyway,
should have been in this more.
he should have.
Especially after what he says initially.
Yeah.
His character should have done something tells me he got edited out probably due to time. But I think it would have been interesting to see that character in the movie more. It
Yeah.
just would have made more sense.
Yeah.
He was the coroner.
Right.
He's the coroner that actually kind of agrees with Kolchak.
Yeah.
Real quick, I'll give you the quickie IMBD. I don't know what you call it. My mind is going blank. I'm sorry.
I don't know what Dave's a cast list.
I don't know what I'm doing, folks. I'm making shit up as I go.
Great.
The breakdown, real quick, is an abrasive Las Vegas newspaper reporter investigates a series of murders committed by what he is saying is a vampire, and it turns out he is right.
He's right. He's right,
and
folks. We're full of spoilers here on Old Ass Movie Reviews, so stop if you don't want to get it. We will give away a lot of times. Spoil the hell out of them.
If you're an X-Files fan, if you're a Twilight Zone fan, like especially the original series, because this movie was written, and I should have known this, or maybe I did know this and forgot it, was written, one of the writers on it was Richard Matheson, who wrote a lot of Twilight Zones back in the day. Yeah, and he wrote this with Jeffrey Grant Rice and Max Hodge. Those two names I'm not really familiar with. But if you like those movies, if you like monster movies, if you like kind of suspensey, I remember this stuff terrifying me when I was a kid. So if you like that kind of stuff,
I can see that.
You have childhood memories of monsters in the closet and under the bed, this is the stuff to watch. I was surprised that they showed so much of this vampire. I remembered it again. I remembered it differently. I don't remember seeing the face as much as they showed it. But even then, they didn't give you a really clear shot so much. It was a lot of shadow and stuff, which was very cool. So what, you never saw this before, right?
I have never seen this, and I'm a fan of the Twilight Zone.
Right.
X-Files is a favorite show of mine. Anything supernatural, anything with the monster of the week vibe. Okay, this week we're going to investigate this, stuff like this. This is a good setup. This is a reporter. You learn a lot right away. He is a smart ass. He's incredibly likable. He's a smart ass. Yeah, which makes me like him.
Exactly.
Even more. He's incredibly smart, and he's not afraid to just say what he found. So I thought this was a cool story. That here we've got a serial killer on the loose, and it turns out the serial killer really is a vampire.
Yeah,
really cool. I dig this kind of setup. It's perfect. It was fun, man. It's a fun cop drama or mystery whodunit monster. Yeah.
I recently bought the series Kolchak, the Night Stalker. One season. They only got one season out of it for whatever reason. I think the fans started coming in late, and that was the problem with the 70s. It would take 6 to 8 months before you knew whether you had anything going. And sometimes they would cancel the show way too soon.
Yeah, that happened a lot.
Prime example of them canceling a movie or a television series way too soon. They could have easily gotten 3, 4, 5 seasons out of this, I think. Because there's any monster you could have pulled them out. In the series, they're pulling monsters from all sorts of mythos and memories, and
the same way the X-Files did, and it went 14 seasons, 11 seasons. I don't know, a lot of seasons.
A lot of seasons. Exactly. That whole
too many seasons, actually.
Like you said, monster of the week.
Yeah.
This is the first movie of I thought they had 3 movies, but I can only find
So
2.
were the movies before the series?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the
That was
setup to
like,
the series.
yeah, that
Okay.
was warming you up for the series. The next movie is called The Night Strangler. And both of these movies are on YouTube. I think you can find them on Tubi also.
I
You can
couldn't,
find the
but
entire series now, of course. I looked for this damn series. I swear to God, I
yeah.
looked for this damn series for like 2 years, everywhere I could, like downloadable. This couldn't find it. The minute I go to a
Yeah.
store and buy the damn thing, I can find it everywhere. I'm like, this is crazy. This is the universe just
That's
giving
what
me a wet
happened
willy with a finger in the ear.
with Johnny Dangerously when we reviewed it. I had to scour all over trying to
Yeah.
find me a copy somewhere, and I finally did and got it sent in, and then it's everywhere.
Yeah,
And
then
it's
all
like,
of a sudden
oh,
it's like
great,
Johnny
yeah.
Dangerously is suddenly popular. It's like when?
When?
Oh, God, that's funny.
Uh, but yeah,
But
Kolchak the series is streaming on Peacock
oh, is it on
now.
Peacock also?
It's on
Okay, that's
Peacock,
right.
yeah.
Real quick, let me go through some of the people that are in this. Darren McGavin as Carl Kolchak. You will know him if you are a Christmas fan and if you have watched some of our Christmas specials as the old man in A Christmas Story. It's a major award. Carol Lindley was a character actress. She plays Gail Foster, Carl's girlfriend. Simon Oakland is Tony Vincenzo. He's the editor.
He's the
What's
boss, yeah.
funny is you watch the 2 movies, and Vincenzo winds up in the series with him. So
Uh-huh.
they're both relegated to Chicago by the company they work for. So they've been like kicked out of real world. Ralph Meeker, Claude Atkins was the sheriff butcher. He's always played a jerk. I don't know that I ever saw
Yes,
Claude Atkins
I
play a
haven't.
good guy. The
If
big
I'm
dark
not
haired guy with
mistaken,
the broad shoulders.
yeah, I
Yeah.
want to say I've seen him as at least a prison warden in something.
Yeah. Yeah. He always plays the jerk.
Yeah.
Then there was a Charles McGraw, Kent Smith. We were talking quickly right before the show. Elisha Cook Jr., Mickey Crawford. He's like some little guy who does a deal with Kolchak. I don't remember what the deal is, but if you remember from an older movie called um, I want to call it the Bird of Istanbul, but that's not right.
The
The
what?
Maltese Falcon.
The
I don't
multi.
know why my mind is
Wow.
blank.
Hey,
This is
you know
I'm
what?
getting ready to
That was
die.
the lesser known follow up
Yeah, that
that
was the
really
sequel.
didn't do well. So it just kind of went straight to video back before video. So,
Ain't a brain fart live.
wow.
Elijah Cook
So,
Jr. It was the guy who kept pulling guns on Bogey. And Bogey
oh,
pulls the
okay.
jacket down
Yes.
over and
Yes.
slaps him in the face
That,
and takes his guns.
yeah.
That's Elisha Cook Jr.
Okay.
I didn't realize, like you had said, Larry Linville was
Yeah.
one of the doctors on MASH. He played Makuroji. He has a Japanese name. I don't get it. Anyway, that's the main group of guys. I mean, there are some other actors and actresses that get killed in this, like rather quickly, really.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
It's not a very long movie. Little less than an hour and a half, I think.
Yeah.
It moves well. It's well done. It's good. It's a neat story. It's like what
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be a real vampire. Okay, because
Oh,
I mean
yeah.
this is the setup, folks. If you went into this blind, it would have been amazing. But I already knew going in that what we were going to get. It would have been a nice
Yeah.
surprise. But God, that's not going to happen on something this old.
No.
So 52 years old, but it's or whatever it is. But that was it's well done. It's entertaining. It's funny. It's thrilling, and I love looking at the scenery and the decor and houses and the clothes and everything in these old movies. So there's a lot to take in here.
I love Kolchak's whole suit vibe, the hat, the straw hat. I've always wanted cosplay as Carl Kolchak at a Comic-Con just to see if anybody gets it. You know, have the camera.
Should do that. Yes.
Have the recorder.
Yeah.
Just see if anybody gets it.
I love it.
I
love it. I love it. See, that's the thing is, and you know, I haven't done much research in it, and I do applaud. Sorry to go off the rails here for a moment, folks, but I do have to give a shout out to all the people that go cosplay, and they really pour their heart into their fandom and make something really freaking cool. And they had the guts to do it in public. I'm so damn shy; I'd be afraid. But I've always had the thing. It's like I'm in my mid-50s. Yeah. Who do I cosplay as? You know, there's not a lot of these old people. And then you just nailed it. That was good, man. So that's cool. Yeah.
And as I get older, there's another guy that I want to cosplay as eventually. The First Doctor. I could get the wig and do the hair. And I'm old enough now. I'm definitely old enough now because he was like only 45 whenever he started doing that.
Yeah.
The First Doctor was 45 years old. He was not.
People didn't look so great old. Back then.
Yeah, they did not age good.
We're aging better now.
And shit, so
yeah, that'll do it to you. A
couple of world wars, and after a while, you're like, nah, I think I'm
good. Peace out.
Yeah. But back to the show.
Yes.
there's a character. Kolchak is talking to the sheriff, the DA, and the police chief, and the mayor. And these guys are all jerks. And let's just start out. They're all assholes right off the top.
Yeah. Oh, they're so bad,
typical
man.
Politicians. They're worried about getting reelected.
That's
Kolchak, in my opinion, took the wrong. And it wouldn't have worked any other way, but he took the wrong narrative with them. Instead of saying, hey, this guy that you're chasing thinks he's a vampire. So he's going to kill people like a vampire would.
It sounded like that's what he was trying to tell them. You have to act like he's a vampire. So.
But whenever he was like, you got to drive the stake through his heart.
That's when
really
lost him.
But he's got the cross, and all he had to do was go, look, this guy is so mentally disturbed. And just say I've talked to psychiatrists that if you hold a cross in front of him, he's gonna, because he's so disturbed, he's gonna react in a negative way. If you throw water on him and say it's holy water, he's going to and the minute somebody threw holy water on this guy in real life, instead the guy started burning, whoever did it would have been like, holy crap, what the hell is going on? Yeah. Or you put the cross on the guy, you know, and burn him all of a sudden. But Kolchak was very insistent, telling them this is a real vampire. This is a real vampire. And his FBI friend even found out.
Yeah. And that's why this works, though, is because in any situation, this is exactly how people are going to respond.
Yep.
Even though the police force admitted they shot him like 20-something times and he just kept going, I'm going to question it, but will I jump to vampire? Not yet. Oh, he's stealing blood? I mean, there's so many things that just like... that lead to, okay, he at least thinks he's a vampire. But Kolchak knows he's chasing a damn vampire.
At the very least, you have to think, okay, this guy at least thinks he's a vampire. Maybe he had body armor on. Back in the 70s, you couldn't get body armor like that. You know, not like this. Not that would keep those bullets off you. But man, just the concept alone of a newspaper reporter. And you said that they did his girlfriend wrong. They
did them both wrong. Yeah, they did him so dirty, man.
Girlfriend, and he's getting ready to get married, and then the town, these guys just turn their back on Kolchak. The sheriff, the deputy, they
ran him out of town.
The mayor, they just screw Kolchak so bad in this. You're like,
who knows what kind of shit they told Gail and to get rid of her.
You can't even imagine. I always wondered why, like after I watched this movie again, I wondered why they didn't bring her back eventually in the series. Because I don't think she ever makes another appearance in the series. And that actress was really a good actress. She was very pretty. And she was very good for his character. Because she's the one in the vampire book. And like this, because because she's the first. I think she believes the guy's a vampire before Kolchak.
And that's why when all of this happened, and you find out that they ran her out with some tale or whatever to get her to leave Kolchak, she knew him better than any of them,
right.
And she would have known that something was up, and whether they. I'd like to have thought they would have had a way, or she would know, but it's for the purpose of the story. This is what happened, and this is how they chose to drive the narrative. It works. It makes sense. I don't like it, but it's going. I think it's going to affect his character, or they may never revisit it. I don't know. So,
it was a good story, especially made for television.
Yeah,
they didn't have the budgets like
Damn.
they have now. Man, they did a lot of good stunts in this. They did a lot of good character development, especially. But with Richard Matheson writing, you're going to have character development.
Yeah.
It could be the worst Twilight Zone. It could be one of the worst things that man's ever written. I don't know. I can't think of a bad thing that I've ever read that he did. But he always has such great character development. In Kolchak, within a matter of minutes, you know who this guy is. You know what he does. You know he's gotten in trouble and he's been sent to Vegas to get out of the way, to get him, out of the way. But somebody at the main company likes him, so that's why he still has a job. And which is what turns out in the series. He still has a job because somebody at the company still likes him. But you never find out who. You don't know
see that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
That could lead further series down the road. That's that arc that pays off near the end of the series. You find out that somebody's pulling the strings, or at least so involved in actually feeding stuff to him because they have I mean, we could just write fan fiction all day on this, but
and they tried to bring this back in a series back in, I forgot what, 2000, mid 2000.
Really?
Yeah. It was terrible because it was a young guy. I mean, it was a really young looking guy.
It could still work.
He was on, no, he didn't. I tried to watch like 5 minutes of it and I turned it off. I was like, that's not Kolchak. That's not Carl Kolchak. That's not, no.
So it was a reimagining of it.
Yeah, basically. And they did it really bad. It was almost like somebody heard somebody talk about an episode of the Kolchak series one time and went, oh, I can make that better. No, you can't. They took the newspaper reporter out of it. I think he had a blog. I mean, if you're going to do that, at least have him working for somebody like
some investigation company or something that would put him getting information or doing some sort of information broker.
One of those rags that used to be,
something.
Rat Boy, Devil Boy, Spotted in, New Hampshire. Even
those are great
like that, which would make even more sense because then he would be even freer to look at all this stuff and be like, I'm putting that in my paper. And everybody's like, you're nuts. And it turns out everything you're reading in these papers is real.
Well, and that's, as I had mentioned to you, there was a short-lived series called The Chronicle on Sci-Fi, and that's what it was. Right. All their information, and they ran one of those rags because it was all true. Batboy, Headless Horseman, all of that. So
it's all they had to do with the new series, but they didn't.
Yeah.
And I know I'm ageist, but Kolchak had to be. Gavin had to be probably in his 40s at this point, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
He had that's the age guy you get, and you put him in the same type of suit because it was out of style back then.
It's back in style now, maybe.
Out of style back then. It's out of style now.
A lot of shit's coming back, unfortunately.
Yeah. But it's funny because I was hoping for the best, and it just was not good. It was just like you said, a reimagining.
Yeah, and you know what? I get it, but man, don't call it that then.
And we
call it something else in spirit.
Yeah, we talk about vampires and we've done a couple of vampire type movies.
Oh, we've done quite a few.
Vampire stories here, right? I mean, we just love vampire stories. We love the characters of vampires, and this actually kind of adds to the mythos a little bit. Mm-hmm. Kat asked the other day, she goes, he's a vampire. Why doesn't he just fly wherever he's going? I was like, maybe he can't. Maybe that's just a myth that a vampire can fly, turn into a bat. I was like, maybe that's that's a new mythos. Like it's just been But it's been a lie that was there for so long because this guy's driving everywhere.
Cool. Every time somebody writes more vampire lore or fiction, it adds to the mythos and the rules and, about the no reflection and have to invite them in and it changes. And I would argue, I bet it changes depending on where you're at in the world. Like, let's go to Romania. Why not? I'm sure the lore is very thick there. And that's where a lot of that lore probably comes from. But by the time it gets westernized and put through the modernization and sparkliness, and now who knows what vampires are? Yeah. So anyway. Yeah, so it does. It does. Yeah. It's just another. I guess where I'm going is there's so much. So it's just another universe, and we tend to accept that with vampires. Yeah. Any vampire movie, we're okay with the lore being loose for whatever reason. Yeah. But don't touch something else, or I'll have a cow. But hey, vampires, have
but vampires have always been fine like that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's like from.
That's wild. It's pretty wild, isn't it?
I like right now. I'm still reading Varney the Vampire.
Right.
Like the old series from the newspapers back during Dickens. And it's in the Dickens movie that we watched a few years ago. And then I looked it up. I was like, is that like a real thing?
Yes.
A real thing.
I looked that up as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I went ahead and I bought the download. I Kindle download.
Oh, awesome.
I'm reading it. It's a hard read. And it's a hard read because people got paid by the word. So it gets, I think if I remember correctly, they get paid by the word. And it's so they get wordy where there's no reason to get wordy. It's like,
that would be so hard. That's one of my biggest complaints reading anybody. It's like, get to the point.
Yeah. There's a lot of like double talk, like in Skeleton of Cadaver Island or how the guy would double talk stuff, like say the same thing in a different way 2 or 3 times. There's a lot of that in this book. But the lore is really good. I mean, they shoot this vampire like 3 or 4 times with their single shots, and their guy's like, I know I hit him. And then one guy's, oh, maybe you missed. Maybe it was just through his cloak. He goes, no, I hit that guy in the chest. And then they figure out where the vampire's at. So they're going to go to the family plot. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm really early in the book. But it's so hard to read that I can only read a little bit of it at a time. But the lore so far is really good. And I can
that's cool.
They're already adding to the lore. Yeah. You know what I mean? So early on, it was being changed. Early on, people were like, I like this character. What else can I do? What else can I do with this thing, this unliving dead? It's zombies you can do the same kind of thing with. Because now we have running zombies as before we.
Yeah, and it just we'll turn on a movie, a TV show, and the zombies are different. And it's like, and we're like, okay,
yeah, we accept it. But there's certain and I think the reason you look at a character like Kolchak, when they had Kolchak be a young kid that's like, doing whatever, it's like, no, that's not the character.
No, because it's not Kolchak.
That's not the character. You can have Kolchak fight any other monster, and like you said, rewrite how that monster is. I don't care. And it works. But Carl Kolchak is
a constant. Yeah.
And if you're going to play him as an actor, go watch the series, go watch these movies and figure out what McGavin did. Darren McGavin, right?
Yeah. I know. It
seems like such a, Darren McGavin. I keep saying McGavin.
See, I said it. I had to ask you. It's like, it don't sound right.
But you find out what he did. You watch what he did and do that. I mean, you can put your own twist on it. By God, if somebody
there's the character.
Yeah. If somebody had to get recast as Han Solo, the kid that did it did a good job. Yeah. He brought his own he brought his own swagger in, but he still played a younger version of Han Solo. He didn't have all his shit together yet.
I'm just going to state the obvious. Austin Butler is Elvis Presley. He didn't reinvent. He was Elvis.
That kid was amazing.
Yeah, so it's kind of it's doing the same thing as he did, but with a fictional character. You have an established Kolchak. That is who it should be. Yeah. That's how it should be. The mannerisms, the smartassery, the just the humor. A cool character.
He did, and in the series, he does the same kind of stuff. Like he'll not, I don't want to say he double crosses people, but he'll say something that's not quite true that gets the person thinking that he's saying something else when he realizes what he's doing, but it's not really a lie because he's not actually lying. He's just letting the person think he's saying something else. And he goes in and does. And It's so funny because the McGavin plays that part so well.
He's really good.
Yeah. This is a good character. I'm going to do my wrap up, and you feel free to do so.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Darren McGavin plays this character so well that when I saw him playing the old man, it's two completely different people. He sounds the same, he looks the same, but you sit there and think this guy is going out chasing monsters and his son doesn't know it. From The Christmas Story. And when you're watching him, when you watch him in Kolchak, you're like, his kid has no idea he's chasing monsters. But they're two completely different characters. Like
they are.
If they met, they probably wouldn't even like each other, or they might go have a beer. It's hard to say. But this is a good movie. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to add to what you said on that. I didn't even catch that. That's who that was until you said that.
See?
And once you did, it's like I see it instantly. And they are very different, but there is that thread of Darren McGavin right through both of them that you see him and you see Darren in both of those characters. Let me put it that way.
Yeah,
but those are two very different characters, but they're so tied.
And I've seen other actors and actresses play characters that wouldn't get along with each other if they met.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think these guys would like each other. They'd probably get along. They'd either hate each other or they like each other. You know? But McGavin plays a good part. He's a good actor. He was always one of my favorite as a kid growing up because Kolchak, the Night Stalkers, scared the hell out of me, which is where the Night Stalker serial killer, I believe, got his name. I think he stole it from here. If memory serves. I could be wrong, but I want to say I read that somewhere. If I'm wrong, folks, let me know. I don't mind. I just think if you're an X-Files fan, if you're, like I said, a Twilight Zone fan, if you like vampire monsters, if you like any kind of little tingly thing that makes you a little uncomfortable, this is a good show to watch. Kat and I have been watching like one or two every couple of days since we got the series. Loving it. I'm like, oh my God, how did they think of that back then? How did they do this back then?
Isn't it great? Yeah. I'm about to start the series. So yeah.
I think you're going to enjoy it.
Yeah. So I enjoyed, Dave loves it. I love this. This was a cool trip into the 70s. Fun. I love the Monster of the Week formula. It works. It reminds me of X-Files. It's fun. It's a must watch. Unfortunately, it's really hard to find a good copy. I got it on YouTube to watch, and it's very, very poor. But the movie is good enough that you will sit through it.
So you will. There are good copies out there, but you do have to look around.
Yeah, I didn't have time to go buy. I'm sure somebody's got a nice hard copy somewhere that has been reproduced. So that's it. I say definitely check it out if you're a fan of the Monster of the Week formula. So hey, folks, thanks for joining us here on Old Ass Movie Reviews. Hit the like, hit the share, hit the subscribe, and we will catch you next week. Later.